This is the Mercedes G-Wagon, and it's the most criminally misused car ever in the history of the galaxy. Built as a military off-roader to tackle the toughest terrain the world has to offer. But instead, the most off-roading it got was accidentally driving over the curb at the local Dunkin' Donuts. And this model I have the absolute pleasure of driving is the 1996 Mercedes G320. And today I'm gonna give you a little backstory on the G-Wagon, but more importantly, I'm gonna show you how this angular brick drives on the road and show you some cool features of one of the most off-road capable and abused vehicles ever built. Abused in the way that it wasn't intended. If you're an American and think off-roading, you're probably gonna think Jeep. But if you're from Europe and think off-roading, you're probably gonna think of this. The Mercedes G-Class, or G-Wagon, short for Geländewagen, I think, translated from German as cross-country vehicle, is a Land Rover with a German accent. It was born out of a proposal for a military vehicle that, I quote, can drive over anything, in the early 1970s by the Shah of Iran, and built in cooperation between Mercedes and Austrian manufacturing conglomerate Steyr Daimler Puch. I'm so sorry I butchered that. It's Mercedes' answer to vehicles such as the Jeep Wrangler, Toyota Land Cruiser, and as I mentioned earlier, Land Rover. All G-Wagons came with four-wheel drive, solid axles, and 3 locking differentials. One of the few vehicles to have such a feature in the US, along with the Jeep Wrangler Rubicon and 80 Series Land Cruiser. And they're all body-on-frame designs with extensive underbody protection. Similarly to the Toyota Land Cruiser, a used G-Wagon like this 96 model is just as capable off-road as a new one is. There's just a little tiny difference in the power category, just a little bit. This G is powered by the M104 engine, which is a 3.2-liter inline 6-cylinder gas engine, and it produces around 210 horsepower and around 220 foot-pounds of torque. Now this is the same engine used in many Mercedes cars of the 90s, such as the 300 SE and the R129 SL sports car. And this one even has a few extra horsepower thanks to a full AMG side exit exhaust. Now that power is sent to a 4-speed automatic transmission, and while the newer AMG models of the G-Class can sprint to 60 in a blistering 4.5 seconds, this 96 model takes just a little bit more than that. It'll hit 60 in 12 seconds. But it does have a plethora of other interior amenities and plenty of cargo space for your Louis Vuitton bags. It's actually a very nice place to be in here. It's very comfortable. You sit in these very plush leather seats and you get a very commanding driving position, very high up, perfect for 4'11" Sharon, who had trouble seeing over the steering wheel of the last E-Class she had. You have a sunroof in here, you have these very nice heated seats that heat up in about 7 seconds, and according to Tyler from Northeast Auto Imports, they get so hot you could cook an egg on them. We won't be trying that today. The dash and the door panels are surrounded in this nice burl walnut wood trim, and you do have seating for 5 between the first 2 rows, and in the back you have these 2 additional fold-down bench seats that sit sideways. They're actually very cool, very military-like. You could probably fit 2 small people on each, or 1 wider person, will be nice and say. You have air conditioning and all your 4-wheel drive controls and differential locks on the center stack here. And we even have an aftermarket Kenwood radio with a USB input and Bluetooth. Definitely a nice updated feature to have that they did not have in 1996. And great news! The back seat here is actually large enough for my lanky and awkward 6'5" frame. And without a doubt, one of the best things about the G-Wagon that not many people get to experience is the weight of the door and the sound. The satisfying thud when you shut it. It's like you're closing the hatch in a tank. Not like I'd know. Vehicles that perform so well off-road, with a body-on-frame design, riding on solid axles, usually don't handle pavement too well. But I'm delighted at how well this one is handling the road. Sure, it floats around a little bit, but it's a little bit more comfortable than a Jeep Wrangler, and I would say about the same as a Land Cruiser. It, of course, as I said, does have a fair amount of body roll. It handles like a truck, but it handles like a Mercedes truck. You can tell they took their time while designing and engineering these things. Regardless of how the G-Wagon is plagued with its misuse memes, it's actually a really good vehicle for a mirage of reasons. It's got that old world charm to it, it's got that military spec coolness, it's got the Mercedes prestige, and it performs well on and off-road. And another great thing, it's got that evergreen exterior design. It's hard to tell if one of these was built in 1980 or 2010. And that explains why prices stayed so high for these things. And if you're willing to pay that price, you have to ask yourself, what are you really gonna use this for? Off-roading? Excellent choice. Looking cool as you climb into it in some random parking lot? Say no more, James Dean. Making people jealous? Done. Sold. Save money on gas and maintenance? Probably not. Thank you guys very much for watching. I'll catch you in the next video. Happy motoring.